maybe I'm doing this like larger than life when I was younger, but I actually think the scene has changed.
It doesn't feel, it's hard to find fun these days, for me at least. Do you feel the same way?
I don't want to be those old guys in a room though saying it's not fun anymore. It is fun. We're just...
It's fun. There is fun. There is fun being had in the rooms, but like, it's not just like in your face and like you see it from the outside and you're drawn in. Like, yeah, you definitely go into a spot and party and have fun and have a good time, drink. It's hard to not have fun doing all those things, but like it's harder to find it. It feels like it's not as driven by fun.
Well, all right. Battle raps cause I've shaken grown men to the point that they can't even face their own friends. That's why they rhyme about jewels, not life, cause the ice on which they skating is so thin.
All right, boys, you ready?
No.
Come on. It's going to be a good one. I'm pumped.
You're pumped?
I'm pumped. We got special guests today. Party with Strategy podcast, episode 122, 3. I'm not sure. Sometimes they go out of order depending on what happens in the editing process.
We'll go 23.
But, yeah, 23. Jordan episode. Because we got some superstars in the building. You know what I'm saying? To my left, my boy, the captain of what's happening. Elk Grove Village raised, Chicago praised.
There's got to be some dubbed music behind this introduction.
The Sudaya who owns Maya.
Sudaya means Assyrian. He grew up with Assyrians.
I didn't know what it meant, but I still loved it. I thought it was great.
Sudaya who owns Maya. I like that.
The pride of Assyria himself. My boy, Paulie ALQAS in the building.
What up?
Nice to have you.
Thank you.
And to my right here, we got Chicago's own White Knight, the Phantom from Frankfurt.
Oh, I hate you.
The corporate event kingpin.
Oh.
Fellow pizza lover, Carmen Rossi.
I dig it. A lot to live up to.
I said the White Knight because you got the Chicago,
Frames?
No, the Night with a K.
Oh, Chicago Nightlife.
Yeah.
That's a good call out.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. How you guys feeling?
Thanks for having us. I'm anxious.
You're welcome.
Yeah, this should be fun.
Thank you for coming.
This is my first official podcast. I've done interviews before being a superstar DJ.
Yeah. With Cafe Disco.
Yes.
Or Robots on the Run.
International. Both. I just, I've never done a podcast. This is the first. You're taking my virginity.
Welcome. It's just a regular conversation like we normally have every day. You know, I ask you, I say, where's the OG's money?
I dig it.
No, I'm kidding. We could cut that out if you want. I just wanted to break the ice.
No. I like it. It.
I'm tearing. I'm crying.
I thought it was, at first I thought he meant like, where are the OGs of Chicago investing their money? That's how I heard that. And then when you let out a Jesus Christ, I then realized, got it. Yes.
No, I'm excited to have you guys in here because you're extremely inspirational, successful businessmen. I was reading up on you before you came in here. I think at the time of the article, which was a couple of years ago, 13 successful operating businesses you have. And I'm sure by now it's even more. Paul, where are you at?
Keep up, bro.
Fuck, man. I'm a promoter. God damn it.
Banker to DJ to promoter to owner,
back
designer.
To promoter. Back to promoter.
I was a teller first.
Teller.
While I was in school, and then I became a banker.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
I did my research.
At Fifth Third Bank. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Shout out Fifth Third.
Are they still around? They're still a thing?
They are. They're terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Their motto at one point was the Curious Bank. What the fuck are you curious about?
That means a lot of different things today. That actually might be a thing now.
Yeah. Maybe.
For a bank to come out and say that now?
I don't want
Curious
my bank to be curious.
Yeah.
Curious where your money is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Curious as to how long you're going to leave it in there so they could do stuff with it.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, I am in a point of my DJ career where I'm thinking about becoming a promoter. No, I'm kidding. About what the options are afterwards. And I'm lucky enough to have you guys come on this podcast and be able to ask you questions and pick your brains and see how it is to be business owners in this space of nightlife and things like that. And I want to know, my first biggest curiosity is how much settling do you have to do when you're opening a concept, when you're opening a restaurant, in terms of like, you want these chandeliers, but they may not be in the budget, or you want this space, but someone else might have taken it who came in with a better offer, or timeliness, it might take too much time to do something you want to do. So you got to settle on that. You know what I mean? Like, how much of that plays into opening a business from the floor up?
Paul, you just opened up. This is the first opportunity for a shameless plug. Why don't you use the airwaves here to kick this off?
If I'm being, I don't know if I should be brutally honest or just,
you should be
There's
brutally
gonna be
honest
3
for
people
sure.
who listen to this. Come on,
Yeah.
say what you want. And one's not going to be Riz. You're not even going to get Riz to listen to it. So I'm not,
So obviously an incident happened outside of our venue when we had Hush.
Yes.
And we were ready to, we thought we were covered by insurance, for what is it called? Business interruption. So business interruption covers you for 60 or 90 days. Our business was obviously interrupted. We were going to get a big check and give it to all our investors and pay off anybody that needs to pay off and just, walk away from it. And we were not covered, we found out. So
was it like some insurance bullshit where they like found a loophole and they were
yes,
like,
yes,
that's
because
so
Hurricane
incidents-
Katrina, flood insurance,
something like that. It was because, the incident didn't happen inside, it was outside, but why'd we get shut down if it happened outside, and blah, blah, blah,
That's
blah,
fuckery.
So yeah, it,
insurance.
yes, insurance. And then once you're in, you're waiting 3 months for insurance, so you're already spending money on rent, and, we did, Chase had an idea of doing a sister place of Medi, because Medi's successful. Shout out Medi. Been there for 3 years now in Lincoln Park. So we're like, all right, let's do a sister, cocktail restaurant of it. And it just, it took a long time to get all the steps in motion and coming up with money and yeah. So, but that was kind of like, where do we stop? Do we stop? But we're already in,
You had a lease obviously on this spot still going, right?
Yeah, but we could walk away from it. There's no guarantee.
Okay.
Yeah. But, we wanted to be good by our investors.
Have you been by yet?
I went to Medi, or Maya.
Oh, you did. You came
I-
by.
I went
you
to
came
Maya,
by,
yeah.
I remember.
I think you did a great job.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
You could not tell that place was Hush. Like
That's
the transformation was.
Or Caramba or Chihuahua.
Chihuahua.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a restaurant.
Yeah, I did get, a lot of feedback saying a lot of people that had been to Martini Ranch, Chihuahua, it was Auto Mezzo at some point, and then it was Laughing Buddha, and then we took it over as Hush, and they said this is the best it's looked in, 30 years. So
Yeah, it
shout
looks
out
amazing.
to myself, I guess.
Congratulations. And you do a lot of the design in those in
I did
your
all
places,
the design.
right?
I did
You
all the
of
design
it.
for this. Yes.
That's insane. Because like even when it comes to doing something in my house, I feel like I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. What do I want to put here? I don't know. I couldn't imagine designing an entire restaurant.
Yeah, it is. It's tricky. And It's
Yeah.
fun though. It's the funnest part, I think, of building out a restaurant. I think the design is, hearing people say, "Man, this place looks gorgeous," even like when I don't know them, because that's when you know them. It's like, whatever, It's when people walk in. I'm usually at the host stand on Friday or Saturday night, and when people walk in, the first thing they say is, "Wow, this place is beautiful." Like it makes me feel good.
Yeah,
So,
that's great.
yeah.
Congratulations. For
Paulie,
sure.
do you think that you have it a little easier now that you've not graduated from being a promoter, but your base, the base that all three of us came up with, is now not in their early 20s, going to Enclave on Fridays and Soundbar on Saturdays.
believe that helps.
So you're pushing like a lounge, a
Yes.
dinner.
Yes, of course. Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
I think
like-
a lot has changed in the past 10 years for sure. And we're seeing it. We see it every week. So
Would you go back into hardcore clubs? Or are you now a restaurateur? This is not your final answer.
I know. No, I love restaurants and I love the way, he has a bunch of restaurants. I'm on 2, we're partners in 2 or 3 of them. But, clubs make money. when they make money, they make great money. When
Yeah.
they don't make great money, you got a lot of fucking expenses, you know. Whereas restaurants, like I know, give or take $2 to $3 grand every week what I'm making at Medi. You can't. I didn't do that with Hush. Hush sometimes would be great. We did, you know, $60,000 in a week. Fucking, we're on top of the world. You know, could be a blizzard the next week and we're at 20 grand, and you can't sustain it. You know.
Yeah.
Whereas like with a restaurant, I'm pretty sure you're at beyond it right now, where like you know what you're doing every week. You know, because Fridays are gonna give you this, Saturdays are gonna give you this, and then Wednesday, Thursday we'll do that. So the consistency is a little bit better. It's fucking crazy running a kitchen and doing that, but if you have that in line and you have good food and a nice place, and I think it's more sustainable, personally.
Yeah. And Hush was a late night license, which is still attached to the building, right?
Yes.
But you guys don't use that.
Yes, I think he'll know more about this, but legally we're not allowed to use it.
As a restaurant?
Yeah, they didn't change the license. They just put, what would you call that? An amendment to it?
You entered into a plan of operation to allow yourself to continue serving alcohol, by which you are not forfeiting the late hour, but it's not active.
Yes, there you go.
Okay.
Carmen's an attorney, by the way. I don't think you mentioned that.
He is a lawyer.
Really
yes.
exciting guest. Meanwhile, we talk about nightlife, but two institutions so I graduated after a long time in 2012. I was a promoter before that. Shout out Wingman. But
Wingman Promotions.
But like Strategy and Paulie and Riz with Promo 7, those were the biggest names. You probably, if you went before that, you were probably in the Outfit Dante world. But for a while, I think you guys were definitely like, you would move crowds. I think Bottle Blonde had a ton of success in the city. And I can imagine being 23 episodes in, you've talked about Bottle Blonde before.
Yes.
But you two entities probably drove the most to that. And right now, I don't know who it is. Like, I think there's like I think in order for a podcast to be interesting to listeners, there needs to be some relatability. And I get the success stories, but I think everybody is trying to make more money, and there's no quick fix, but it's diversifying income. Promoting allowed you to diversify your income. DJing allowed you to add on an income stream. Like I saw you DJing recently. That's just like another check. You guys are way more passionate and have much more developed history when it comes to the foundation of Chicago nightlife than I do. I'm much more, I'm not as emotional about it. It's like a business. It's an algorithm. You're plugging in the elements. If you do these 10 things, it should, science should lead you to, a path. But what do you think about nightlife now? Like Chicago nightlife 23, 24 versus the heyday of 15 to 18. I look back at 2012 with nostalgia.
Yes.
Like there were lines early at 9 p.m.
Yes.
And remember you would get drink tickets? And if you had like 6 of those things in your pocket, I thought I was like, just driving in from school and stuff. I thought that was the coolest. I remember, I'm going to be a dork for a second and give somebody a compliment, which is definitely not my style. I remember going to Enclave. We promoted on Fridays, and I would ask Chris Bader, who was a partner in Wingman, I'd ask him to introduce me to Matt Deichel, who is the general manager of Enclave and Cuvée. And like Matt being the very colossal dickhead that he is, and I'm partners with him, but
That's the clip.
That's the clip.
Man, he would just be like, Chris would like go over, introduce, get some drink tickets, and be like, "Hey, this is Carmen." He brought out 150 people tonight. Matt be like, "Ugh," and he couldn't like even make eye contact. But to me, that was so big because he ran like Chicago nightlife, and the club scene was so big that if you were a general manager, now maybe I'm doing this like larger than life when I was younger, and maybe that's the context. But I actually think the scene has changed. And I'm not going to say better or worse. I'm just saying it's very different.
Very, very different.
It's different. I feel like it's not as fun driven. It doesn't feel, it's hard to find fun these days, for me at least. Do you feel the same way?
I don't want to be those old guys in a room, though, saying it's not fun anymore. It is fun. We're just,
but it's like...
It's not the same.
It's fun. There is fun being had in the rooms, but like, I think you got to really find it. It's not just like in your face and like you see it from the outside and you're drawn in. Like, yeah, you definitely go into a spot and party and have fun and have a good time, drink. It's hard to not have fun doing all those things, but like it's harder to find it. It feels like it's not as driven by fun.
I will give in my desire to be objective, it's difficult because it's a personal tale, but as a data point, I might stay in once a week, like not go to out. Either in out can be dinner and drinks, but so I go out over 300 times a year. It's to your point, strategy. It's very, you can tell just by the number of clubs that have closed. I don't know. I mean, I don't even know if there's like 4 nightclubs in the city.
Like official like real nightclub.
Whereas back in the day, you had capacity. I mean, when you talk about Enclave Cuvée, we've mentioned those, but think about like Paris. And obviously we mentioned Bottle Blonde and, but think about, what now is Bounce, but Parliament. And just what was Sound Bar, Spy Bar, that whole traffic. If you add up the occupancy of all those places, you were talking about well over 10,000 people, thousands of people. You go back to like Transit on Lake, you go back to like all these. And if you add up what the legal occupancy card is for all those places, there was thousands and thousands of people clubbing. If you add up the occupancy now, I don't know if it's 2,000 people that are out. And Tao is your biggest, but open 2 days a week, not always maximizing the capacity of their space. So what happened? I mean, is it a cultural thing? I think about it all the time because I own, a lot of them. And it used to not be, a lot is a number, but I'm saying now it's like a larger percentage of the pie. Not because I've just grown, it's because the pie shrunk so much, I think. So I'm fascinated. I was on a call this morning with a broker who's just trying to get me to buy a building and, lie to me because that's what brokers do. But, we were having the same conversation. He said, well, what do you think it is? What are the trends? What's the culture? I don't have the answer. I could surmise that COVID had something to do with it. Nightlife was not a essential business. It was most nightclubs don't have kitchens. Therefore, you couldn't open under the regs, under Chicago's regs. So for certainly over a year, almost 2 years, that was gone. Like that culture of lifestyle. And, you would think like, the Roaring 20s, it's back. I mean, if I had to like write a thesis and give support and evidence, because it's down considerably, maybe people are going out earlier. Maybe people like food, in restaurants and bars, like the Happy Camper model. Shout out Happy Camper, or
great pizza,
things of that nature. But yeah, what do you guys?
I think the culture for sure, like the younger generation doesn't drink as much, which is a small part of it. I think it's a lot of mushrooms, and
you are seeing a lot of mocktails and shit going on menus. So.
Yeah, that's got to be some kind of part of it. Also, COVID. Yeah, there was that feeling of like, damn, everything's about to open back up. It's about to be crazy. The Roaring 20s. I remember having that feeling, and it felt that way for a very short period of time, right? But it didn't really last.
It definitely. Would you say 2021 or 2022? Which was higher?
20. So I have this little like internal biological clock that sets off every morning between 4:38 and about 5:12. And you're going to say, oh, that sounds a little silly and precise.
That is a weird number.
But it's when all of the POS, the point of sales systems, send the totals. And I'm just a part, whether I own and manage it or I'm a partner investor, I get so many totals every night. So and from different neighborhoods. And so, 2022 was a great year. 2023, all down.
Really?
Yeah.
2023 is probably more likened to 2019 as a measure of revenue, but 22 was a good year. It was a fun year. I think there's explanation. I think it had to do with the amount of money inflows from government subsidy, from stipends, from, I think the Roaring 20s was a thing for a minute. It was like Roaring 20 minutes. And then it was kind of over with. But I'm super curious and like Fifth Third Bank. We're daring to be curious what 24 is going to be. What 24 is going to be. But it's, would you do a mocktail bar? I've had so many people be like, you should do it.
Complete?
I don't even even and then who are you market? I don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't understand
it.
it. And I don't know where the money is.
A vegan mocktail bar.
Vegan
Shout out
mocktail bar.
vegans. Shout out.
That's like what a coffee shop is. Really? If you could turn a coffee shop into like a fun, sure, you could have wine too, but like mostly non-alcoholic stuff and throw an event in there or something, I feel like that's what people would be looking for.
In the future, you're not going to DJ. You're going to do like the coffee, like
I do
banging
the
on
bongos.
the bongos.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I could see it.
A little
now.
spoken
I'm getting
word.
around a little spoken-
I think
Yes.
that
Yes.
I think that when I'm curating a menu and people always say there needs to be something for a pescatarian or a vegan, I think at these mocktail vegan spots, they need to cater to that one friend that's just eats steak, Because what if you went on a birthday with a bunch of vegans or people that don't drink? You wouldn't go. You need a steak or a burger or whatever you would enjoy.
I'm dating a vegan right now, and she's trying to get me to go to Planta. And I told her I'd bring some chicken in my pocket that
Planta's
I
good,
could throw on whatever dish I get.
I'm going to cut you off. Planta's good.
I've heard it's fire.
Planta's really, really good.
Yeah.
Their broccoli. Have you been there?
No.
It's right next to Joy. It's like Kitty Corner from Joy. Sorry.
on
the corner.
Clark.
On Clark, yeah, on the corner.
I've seen it. Yeah.
really,
yeah,
really
yeah.
good vegan spot. Shout out vegans.
Yeah, shout out to my girlfriend.
Did she enjoy Maya? I didn't know she was vegan.
Yeah. She's not like super picky and like, oh my God, this place doesn't have anything I can eat. Like she'll just eat lettuce if that's what it is.
Gotcha. Whatever's there,
Oh,
there.
yeah.
We'll work it out.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, I love her.
There's the title.
Me too.
I as a measure of trend, what are your alcohol sales? How are they affected on a...
So, Medi, which is in Lincoln Park, we do about 60-40, food being
Wow.
the 60, which,
It's a restaurant.
yes, full-on restaurant. I'm trying to get it closer to 50-50, whereas in River North, it's kind of 50, sometimes 55 alcohol. So it's a little bit more drinking in River North, which makes sense, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
But is that, you think it's consistent with the vegan offerings? I mean, what is the demographic?
No, you know what's crazy, and I don't know. I mean, I know why, but for some reason, like the past 2 weeks, not last week, but the other 2 weeks before, we had some influencer come in, and I don't know. Maybe she was a person that only eats halal meat, but for like 2 straight weeks is like, is your shit halal? Is your shit halal? Is your stuff halal? And I'm just like, fuck, man. Like, why are you asking this question? You know what I'm saying? But our meat wasn't halal, so.
Really?
How about influencer? Who you're shouting out influencers? Like you brought out the influencer? Like you reached out to say, hey, come try this to post?
So we actually did an opening party with Shout Out.
Oh, shout out.
And yeah, they brought in, I think they did like maybe 25 influencers, and then my girlfriend also books influencers. She did like 25 to 30, so just like 50 influencers of, I don't know, the most random people, I guess.
Right.
And maybe a couple of those people were saying that we had good food.
It's great.
But
Great food.
are vegetarians and want halal meat, maybe.
Yeah. I got a question.
go ahead.
Sorry. You.
Well, I was just going to say that you were like one of the first like influencers who branded like the Send Nudes. That was like an influencer for a party.
R.I.P.
Like it was brand building certainly, but you were like an influencer because your party moved. Like the Send Nudes party could move, and there was merch, and there was like a whole concept book and a level of excitement. Again, now, you know, the influencer is like, today I'm going to show you how to make chicken with rice, and you know, and it's just like, oh wow, that's.
Why do you think that is in peace now? Rest in peace. Is it because
I think the current times are like pretty. Everyone's not trying to do anything too crazy. Do something too crazy.
Did
might
you
get
get
in trouble.
backlash?
I got no backlash ever, which was shocking, but also I feel like the backlash comes from when you're like pretending to be like a nice person, and then it comes out that you did something ridiculous. Like I was just ridiculous and to the max at all times, never trying to hide anything. So
I appreciate that lesson. You know, it's always the ones who live wholesome and then like do one little thing. But if you just are a piece of shit,
100%.
dude, you get let off of everything. Oh, that piece of shit is just being a piece of shit.
Just
I
what he
want to
does.
convert, dude. I work so hard
well,
at
let me
being a
help
good
you.
person. I got to bring back Send Nudes.
Let me help you.
Let's
think-
do
I
it.
think-
I need a whole new rebrand.
I think you and Riz together, you guys could send nudes.
Yeah.
Yeah, wouldn't that
you guys
be
could
so good for my brand?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, the next political event, I'm gonna start
yes.
plastering Send Nudes on people.
I'll get you a hat and some stickers. You'll leave here with a whole goodie
Holy
bag.
shit.
That's good.
I think it's because you kept getting your shit taken down.
That is a factor as well.
Because
but
it's demotivating.
Wait,
you know?
explain
Oh my
for
God.
the
He would
listeners
get, like,
who don't.
He'd get like 50,000 followers, and the next week he'd have his account would be banned.
they delete my account. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's deflating.
Which platform?
That's deflating.
Instagram mostly.
Wow.
But like
Of
now,
course.
Yeah, like why the fuck would I want to build up this brand again if
And
you're
the-
just going to shut me down?
50,000. Man,
yeah, the most I had was like 70-something thousand on Instagram.
that is awesome.
and like all off of World Star videos, like all legit following. It was incredible. I might cry right now. No, I'm
I got
kidding.
teary-eyed for you.
But it does feel like a
I like
form.
do dances and shit. I have like 8 followers.
It was like a form of death. Like you are so social media is so much attached to the person that you are today. To get your social media platform deleted, there was a small like funeral that I had to have for myself.
That'd be super, super stressful, super frustrating, but you probably just missed the monetization.
I missed the monetization of like on social media itself, but what I really missed was had I started an OnlyFans back then, had I even
man.
knew what it was,
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
We'd be filming
man.
this on your jet right now.
Yeah.
I would be, yes. It makes me so sad to think about that sometimes. It makes me
You were
sad.
before your time.
The
before
thing
your
is, like, though it existed, but it wasn't popular. Like, I didn't know about it. I wasn't so deep into the internet thing that I knew you could start a Patreon and like get paid just from subscribers. And so here I am trying to do it again wholesomely, and we'll see what happens.
Who was the other party, like wild party brand? I don't want to mispronounce.
Corral.
Oh, Kirill.
Yeah,
Kirill. Yeah.
What's he doing these
The
days?
Slut Whisperer. He got his
Yes, that's
Instagram
right.
back. He got the Slut Whisperer Instagram back kind of recently, a couple months ago. Probably.
And is he still
He
whispering?
He's still whispering. He's still whispering, but he really converted his entire brand into the Assholes Live Forever. Have you ever seen that clothing
That's
company?
his?
That's his.
Dang.
Yeah.
And it's true. We were just talking about that.
Yeah.
Good die young, but assholes live forever.
Yeah. So he did it right. He took his following, started selling that merch, and then completely dove into the whole. He's got like huge warehouse, big influencer house in Cali.
Oh, good. I like to hear stories, positive stories of people who got out, of the from under the ashes.
Yeah, he's crushing it. Do you guys, as restaurant and club owners, do you feel like the Club Stant is sort of the newest phase in the game right now? Because I feel like it was the bottle blondes and the hefes and the hybrids, and then COVID happened, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Now we're back. And those sort of seem like old school things at this point. And I feel like that's kind of the new wave, is like the Club Stant.
I think it is. I think the new Club Stant is the old hybrid, like sports bar / party spot. I think that's what you could dub the new Club Stant as. Now it's just dining and cocktails with a little bit of party.
Right.
And how far you take it, I haven't been to the Tulum spot, so I don't know. Have you been there? I've heard multiple
Costera?
things. I've heard good things. I've heard bad things.
I want, he beat me out for that spot.
I heard.
I wanted that spot. And I didn't even negotiate. I signed the LOI. I didn't look at it. That's how good of an attorney I am. I don't even read things. And somehow he ended up with it. But no, I heard it's doing very well. I heard it's doing very well. And I don't think it's huge. I don't think it's a massive. So as a matter of fact, I know exactly what it is. It's because I toured it. It's only a couple thousand square feet. They expanded out a little bit into the sidewalk, but I think big is gone. I mean, big is old crow. Big is what was like Enclave. Those sorts of big spaces. I don't know. It's. We were talking about Shout Out. I don't know if you know. And are you an investor in that?
I am not. No.
Okay.
I bought a boat instead. That's a true story.
Well, both bad investments. So great. But anyways, well, I'm in it. So what am I going to do? And things they don't even tell me that I'm in.
So good.
What I like about that is it creates opportunities for people who have a full-time job but go out, whether they're going to a HIIT class, whether they're going to a coffee spot, a restaurant, and they're shouting out. And it allows everybody to sort of participate.
Is this an app? Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, this is an app. It's called Shout Out. And so if you have 4,000 followers, but you're out all the time, you can sign up, and then businesses can say like, oh, wow, I see Strategy really likes vegan food. He's always at vegan restaurants. I'll pay him, $30 if he shouts out my vegan restaurant.
Okay.
Because I'll take the few thousand regional people that follow him. I'll take that. And it's clever. It's doing well, whatever well is. But we were talking about additional income streams, and we were talking about like that's the sort of, it's so hard to open up a small business today. Like it's different. If I had to do what I've done now, what I did 10 years ago today, no chance. Your margin of error is zero because the world's just way more expensive. Like the lease is way more expensive. The build out is way more expensive. A manager, I mean, you used to be like, you used to interview somebody and be like, fuck you, you want $40,000 a year to work 80 hours? Come on, you're killing me. Nowadays, dude, the hostess makes $150, pulls up in a E350 and is like, sorry, I'm late. I mean, it just got so difficult. And that's not just in hospitality. It's pick a business. But hospitality is it's such a devastatingly fun industry to talk about because, it still has that sexiness. Hey, let's go over here. I know Paulie, he's the owner. Or, hey, I just got it, or the server even gets to say, hey, you've been a great table tonight. This round's on me. And you're just like, you are a world star. Am I using that correctly? I don't think so.
World star?
So anyway, but the margins are so thin. Like, yeah, you might be a regional or street celebrity, a block celebrity, but it's paper thin margins, so you don't have a ton of room for error. What I wanted to sort of, we're talking about Club Stant, like Chicago is in a bit of a nightlife identity crisis. and it's not panic. I mean, and I'm in too deep, so to speak, but I've invested in Scottsdale. I've invested in New York, in nightlife. We're familiar with Miami. We all are on text threads thinking about where the birthday party or bachelor party or next trip is going to be planned. I think Vegas, you're seeing, query as to they're opening up a Happy Camper in Vegas, shout out. H Wood Group out of LA did Delilah. I don't know if you guys have been to the Wynn, but it's more of a lounge, live music, got a jazzier effect. Query as to the next major club that's going to open in Vegas. I think that, Chicago's in this weird spot, but entertainment is really important. Like for being centrally located, for being the most beautiful city in the country. I mean, that's a fact. And there's plenty of publications that agree with that, but we don't have the celebrity. We don't have the celebrity because we don't have the party. Like we've never seen paparazzi. Paparazzi is like, being mentioned in the Trib as dining out. Like that's not whereas Miami, New York, LA, whereas look at what Nashville has done. Look at what Scottsdale has done. Mm-hmm. Like people are taking those trips. I want, who is the people we get like, hey, you're from out of town. Where are you from? Yeah, we all got together. We drove in from Hinsdale. I'm like, well, okay, I guess you're tourists. Like it's just, it's not getting that same. And I like, how we started with talking about the old days. We're not that old. I mean, he's got a girlfriend. Do you have a girlfriend?
I do.
Okay. Well, I'm not that old. They might feel.
I've aged significantly since getting a girlfriend.
If anybody's single.
I don't want to sound desperate, but please.
Oh, please.
Shout out me. But yeah, like what is your night out in Chicago? Like what's the thing that you look forward to doing? What are your friends when you're going out in the city? Like what is it that we're really doing well? Forget me bitching about the other city or how successful the other cities are, but what do you think our niche is right now?
I think that Chicago's, in terms of like the industry and going out and entertainment and nightlife, to me, and it might be because I'm part of it, but it feels the most homey, the most cozy, the most like you're actually being taken care of by the people in the building and they're serving you well and making you feel welcomed and giving you that experience. It doesn't, like, I can speak for living in Houston for the last 3 years. I don't really feel that at all.
Yeah, what was Houston like? Everybody keeps saying, Houston's on Chicago's tail to pass it as the third biggest city. And I've gone out there and I mean, I could bore your audience, but what did you think?
I hated it. I hated every minute of it, but nice. I stayed out there because the money was good and I felt like there had to be some sort of silver lining, some sort of light at the end of the tunnel. I just pushed myself to stay out there. And there was definitely, I learned a lot in terms of DJing for a whole new crowd. I feel like it's definitely made me a better DJ, diversified my song selection and way that I DJ and all that, being able to use the microphone. But yeah, I hated it. It doesn't feel like a city. You can't even walk somewhere. Like I will go walk below zero, -30 wind chill around the city of Chicago because it's so beautiful and I love to walk and it feels good. And you look at the architecture and you're in a city that just gives you life. Houston, the male people walk on the street because the sidewalk ends. It's architecturally and designed just horrifically. It's not really a city. It doesn't feel like a city to me. It feels like a huge suburb.
I don't think there's zoning laws out there, right?
Isn't there like a kindergarten?
Yeah,
that's exactly right. You can have a church next to a Kmart, next to a meth lab,
next to a kindergarten.
Yep.
That's
crazy. There's no zoning.
Yeah, and then it's just put together poorly, very poorly.
What was the restaurants scene?
definitely like a foodie city, but I'm not really a foodie guy. I'm pretty picky. I don't like fish. It's a lot of fish. It's a lot of like stuff from Louisiana, Cajun, crawfish boil type stuff. So a lot of people do like the food and say that there's a lot of good spots to eat, but I'm a Chicago guy through and through. Like I'm trying to get some Portillo's.
What was the viral video of the club wars of the two groups in Houston, like out buying each other and pouring it out? First of all, I've been pouring out alcohol for, close to a long time.
I've seen it. When we first started the Strategy and Dolo show at Joy District, you were in there pouring out champagne bottles like a boss.
They do it once and it's viral. I almost went viral.
That was drug dealers spending all of the money that they made in the past week.
Shout out PPP.
Yeah, that's exactly what that was.
Did you know the club? Had you ever played there?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think for like the food scene, Chicago is kicking butt. Like there's so much. I don't remember. Did we go outside of downtown when we were younger? Did you guys go outside of? Because like now, I mean, I like our little 77 communities hashtag for Chicago, but like I don't remember going to Logan or Bucktown or Wicker. Or
it was just Lincoln Park for us when we first started going out because they let us in with our IDs.
That's right. I do remember that.
Maybe Wrigleyville.
High Tops? Was that, I think, one of the first spots I got in?
High Tops was a spot.
Where was High Tops?
Wasn't that Lincoln Park or was that Wrigley? It was north. I was just trying to remember places that let me in. Mickey's.
We would go to Good Bar a lot.
Good Bar?
Good Bar. Went to Good Bar a lot.
I DJ'd there pretty often.
Crush, Sauce. Sauce was great.
How about Mix Bar?
Mix was Crush before.
Okay.
Yeah. Crush was before. That was the second spot I promoted at.
Yeah.
I've been promoted next year. I think it's May 14th. It's going to be 20 years for Promo 7. That's fucking insane.
Nice.
20 years of mediocre promoting.
20 years about lying about those numbers.
Yeah, best in the game right here.
That's congratulations.
Shit. 20 years, a long time.
Let's get there.
Yeah.
Let's get there.
I actually was on Lincoln, Halstead, and Fullerton, that intersection, the other night, and I was like, holy shit, there's nobody on the street. There's not a soul on the street. Like,
yeah, I think I own places over there. And,
like it used to be, the McDonald's was there on the corner, and you'd hang out there and eat your drunk food, and like it was just popping. There was people, there was students. It was a ghost town. It was crazy.
I will recommend to Mayor Johnson that he appoint this committee, chaired by Strategy, to educate local communities on building economic development. And that means traffic, and when you eliminated all of the housing, like the apartments in Lincoln Park, and replaced it with multi-million-dollar single-family homes, you had, 9 people living in a duplex that would go out 4 nights a week to, a husband and wife that goes out once a year. And when you replace all of that and are restrictive with licensing or, front facing on putting pressure on businesses that have lines and stuff. I mean, that sort of, now there is something to be said about that. That's my, not a negative take, but Lincoln Park specifically, the other thing that sort of, I mean, because it has DePaul, but I think DePaul has become more and more transient, people driving in, driving out. I don't know if the DePaul students, so to speak, live near the campus because it's gotten so expensive. The other thing I'll say is, I don't think when we were growing up, I mean, I don't remember Old Town. I don't remember Wells. Like Benchmark and Poorhouse. Those were like, what is this? And it was like TVs and a DJ and chicken fingers. And you're like, no way are those 3 things going to go together. And that was like the first time. And then the only time you mentioned Halstead, Sheds, the last time I partied on Halstead in a club was the Mid.
Oh, I miss that place.
The Mid and Century Room. Oh, Mondays up on Century Room. Like that's where like I cut my teeth. Like that was written. They and like I'll shout out a great guy who I know we all love, Joe Quaddy. Remember how hard he would work with Nino to do these amazing parties of theatrics, and now fucking theatric is Taco Tuesday. Like there's no effort and energy into like putting on a show. And you know, this whole concept, I apologized for being late today, but I was coming from a manager meeting, and I don't micromanage. I don't really go to meetings. I'm more of a reactionary than a visionary, so to speak. But one of the things I've been lecturing on is turning on the lights, showing up on time, and being good at operations is not enough today. Like you gotta really put on a whole show, and you've gotta come up with new ideas of, and I mean, we're not trying to reinvent the way people eat, but you better have something to talk about and be a driver for people going out. Because if you don't, they won't. You know, they're learning how to cook on TikTok. And that's just, I think all of that sort of, you know, Lincoln Park never really had a chance when it came to Old Town Wells, when it came to Randolph Fulton Market. Let's keep going back. Hubbard Street. When I was a promoter, we promoted Thursdays at English, and then Fridays at LaSalle Power Company, which was Gino's East. Giordano's, whatever. Yeah.
I think it's Gino's East.
And I don't think English has been open since 2016.
And the building's still there with the sign.
It's still right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's got to...
Yeah, go ahead. No, I'm good.
I forgot what I was going to say. I was going to say there's got to be some reason nobody's putting anything in that spot, and I'd imagine you would know.
That's just like White Star. White Star's been sitting there for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
Which could be the biggest club in the city.
It's like prime real estate, right? For a nightclub, sitting right there on LaSalle between everything.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the attitude of nightclubs has changed. I fundamentally cannot accept a premise that the day of nightclub is dead. It's too difficult, like, to recognize trends and moments in time. Yes, okay. Education proves that. However, remember last year, Tao and Let Us Entertain You announced they were going to do that private members club, and there was going to be a nightlife component, and they walked away. You talk about Tao Group, which I really like. I mean, I was so excited for Chicago. Like, I'm a diehard Chicago. Like, just the city is, I owe it everything. And I know you guys are too. Like, and I love that you came back, and I love that you talk shit about Houston, because, you know, but as a diehard, it's like, you look at the sort of sentiment toward nightclubs, and Tao, when Tao said, "Hey, we're coming to Chicago," I was like, yes, we deserve it. You know, Chicago deserves a Tao. When they come, they usually bring their other brands. They usually bring Lavo. They have all those other great brands. And I think they were just like, oof, Chicago, you know, wasn't what we thought it would be. And now Lettuce and Tao backed out of that, you know, members club idea. And, you know, I literally describe that as a moment in time. I just think we're in the rut of Chicago nightlife. I don't think that this is the new normal. But I'm hopeful that, you know, there's 3 young idiots like we were being like, we're going to take the city by storm and put Promo 7 back into the grave. Those old
CEO,
guys.
baby, they're coming for your necks.
Oh shit. Shout out CEO and all access, I guess.
CEO.
Shout out. Fuck.
I didn't even know what you were talking about when you said that. I thought you meant like him as a CEO.
No. Here's something interesting that I was talking with another DJ about. I want to see how you guys feel. There's like a new resurgence of fun disco type vibes, like Goodnight John Boy, right? Have you been
Doing
there?
very well. Really cool.
Doing really well. And
Good for
I
them.
think that's I was talking about earlier, like the lack of fun. I think that is a way that brings fun back into it, because it's like everything that I thought was corny when I was DJing 7 years ago that I would never play. I'd be like, I can't play that. That's corny as fuck. I can't be up here while that song's on. Motherfuckers looking at me like I'll be a cornball. But it's all of that. And now I'm like, I want to play all that. I want to play in that room because that looks so much fun and they love it. And there's going to be a hole in the market because I think there's a lot of DJs who are sort of on top of the game in the city who couldn't even do that, who couldn't play like a wedding set like that. They don't even have the music. They don't even know the music. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's sort of a nice direction that we could potentially be going that I'm looking forward to.
I think it's specific for that concept. I don't think like at Bandit they're gonna play that, or I think Reading Room just opened up. I think that's specific for that, and they did a great job. And I don't think that's like the thing that's gonna help nightlife in Chicago personally.
No?
Nah, I don't think so.
I mean, I know Rhino just opened Rhino Bar, and that's kind of what they're trying to do.
Vibe?
They're trying to do like sing along.
How
fun.
is that? I know he loves that shit because he, when we're at Joy District, he's always saying like every 10 minutes, like even the genre should change.
Yeah.
The energy in the room should always be, it should be there. Instead of someone either playing hip hop for 30 to 45 minutes, or even house music for 30, or disco, or whatever it is, just keep changing, keep the crowd interested. But I don't know.
You don't see it, huh?
I don't see it. I could be wrong. I usually see these things before, but I would love if I will retract my statement. Disco always comes back and forth. I was at Spy Bar in a moment because we used to promote there for I think 9 years, and there was a moment where disco came back and everybody was playing disco. All the big DJs, all the resident DJs. But it just comes back. It'll never go away. I mean,
Yeah.
disco's a 70s thing? Yeah. It's been around since the 70s. It's always going to come back.
Yeah.
You were just starting as a promoter back then.
Yes.
You should know.
Yes.
You've dated yourself like 30 times. You couldn't catch me dead dating myself. And you've done it like 20 times throughout this. Every time you say something, I'm like, that ain't me. So, first of all, Goodnight John Boy is a great example of like a concept, a brand, sticking to it.
Yes.
Not knee jerking. Like, this is what you're getting when you come here. You're not going to show up and be and hear, reggaeton, and then the next, just like you're not going to go to and by the way,
Reggaeton.
Not a reggaeton. Yeah. Come, all right.
We could ask Diamond Cut if we need to.
Listen.
Shadow grammar.
It's not even grammar. It's just how big of a nerd that I am. Like what is a word that people are saying now? Like Riz or something?
Riz, yeah.
Riz?
I have to say this story really quick. Sorry to cut you off.
Please.
Because you said Riz. Also, I want to see if we can hear this later.
Yeah, people love that.
So
At that point, the podcast took a turn.
So I'm at brunch at Medi, and a DePaul student, maybe 19 or 20 years old, is working, and he's like, and there was a customer, and she was being nice, and I was being nice, whatever, and the kid goes, "Man, you got Riz," and I go, "What the fuck did you just say?" And he's like, Riz. I go, "What the fuck does that mean? Like, Riz hasn't been here. We've been open for 2 years. Riz
is here?
Yeah,
It's before 6
like,
p.m.
what the fuck
Riz
does
is
that
here?
mean?
That's not possible.
He goes, "That means you're smooth with the ladies." I go, "That's what that means? Like, they took Riz's name? Like, was it named after Riz?" I'm so confused. Where did the origin of Riz come from? Is it after George Rizzio?
I'll tell you right now because I learned it on this podcast.
Okay.
I actually think I know what it is, but go ahead. I want to see if I'm right.
You
Do you know what it is?
it comes from
It's another word,
Comes
right?
from another word.
A word that
okay.
like sound like charisma.
charisma. Exactly.
That's what I heard. Although I thought people were saying jizz. Like you got jizz.
I was gonna say it sounds like
And
a word. I'm like,
oh,
jizz.
okay. Well, no, I could see where kids are going with that. You got jizz? Yeah, okay. These crazy kids, Gen Zers. All right.
Riz.
Comes from
Riz.
charisma. You got charisma. Like you're talking to the ladies, you're showing
riz.
off. You got a little riz.
A new one is Giat.
Gia.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that one.
Sounds like a jiu-jitsu move.
There was a millennial on a TikTok, and it was with her two. They might have been like 12 to 15-year-olds. They were going through like different sayings, and Giat was one of them. I don't even know what it means. It has to do with a girl's ass, but I don't know what it means.
Giat?
Girl, you're some Giat. Yeah, Giat. I don't know.
Man, it's
know
hard
what?
to keep up, bro.
Enunciation
I'm gonna Google
is
it.
intimidating.
It's hard to keep up.
I'm gonna Google it right now.
I'm scared for what it actually means and what you were just endorsing.
Yeah, right? You said it like six times on here.
Get your act together. No.
All right. Well,
Yeah, I'm gonna come back to it.
All right. Well,
What
you
were we talking
finish with
about?
Goodnight John Boy.
Oh,
'cause
yeah, Goodnight John Boy.
You're talking
Okay,
about how
yeah.
consistent it is, how cohesive the brand
here's
is.
where a lot of small business owner. Here's what hurts hospitality is when you're chasing your expenses. So any small business owner who has labor and rent, and here's where bad decisions come from. When you have a business and rent is due, and I got to send the state my sales taxes, and we run payrolls this Friday, you can't afford to not take a party. And even if somebody's like, dude, that promoter, I don't know, it's a bad, that group goes back and forth. Your heart kind of breaks for them because they can't, like, I got to keep the lights on. Like, I have employees that live paycheck to paycheck. There is an entire, ocean of depth that goes into decisions that chase dollars. And usually it's because in this city, February is not Miami. And by the way, next February, it's not going to be 70, despite whatever people think about global warming. But this is not a political show, and I'm not political. In any event, the same thing goes with like knee jerking on, it's been slow. You know what I like about a certain restaurant? You know what I like? Not just mine. What are some places that I don't own that we could support? But like a good steakhouse or La Scarola. I eat there a lot on Grand Avenue. When I go to La Scarola, I know it's going to be pasta. It's not, Monday is pasta, but Tuesday's Chinese, and Wednesday is kebab, and Thursday, they don't switch like that. They're consistent. There's something to be said about, so when you go to Goodnight John Boy, it's that high energy level of music. I think they designed it well. Like, I look at my role in the business of hospitality is design, concept, build, team, and then you're done. And then it's reactionary. Like, I don't micromanage, manage. And a lot of what you're talking about, like strategy, I think there's like two central tenets to a quality nightlife experience, and it's lighting and it's music. You could have a beautiful place. We've been to beautiful places that screwed that up and have failed. And we've been to shitholes that nailed lighting and music. And I could tell you there's so many examples. Like, music today isn't just important for the crowd's enjoyment so that they come back. It's important for the crowd you get and to make sure it's safe. I don't remember, you talk about another thing. This has all been about blast from the past, but I don't ever remember safety coming up in our promoter conversations with managers or owners. And I'll tell you the first time that I'll use myself as an example, but the first time where I saw firsthand the impact of music. I still own a place. It's called Never Have I Ever. I partnered with an old school promoter, Dom Brown.
Shout out Dom Brown.
Shout out Tom.
I was actually just there. I
Never
checked
Have
it
I
out on his Wednesday night
Oh, nice.
Dominatrix.
I was just with him. We hugged. We laughed. We were at Sur Le Lac's 1 year anniversary. Shout out Sur Le Lac.
Shout out Shirley Lock. Yep.
Carmen's clothing company.
Okay, nice.
You went to that? Did I see you?
Yeah, you asshole. We went to fucking Maya.
Oh, that's right. We did. We did. Well, everybody's, that's the one thing about, like, I don't go to these because
Literally
everybody's
hung
like,
out
let's do a shot. Hey, congratulations. Let's do a shot. Let's do a shot.
Yeah.
And I always say yes. And then,
Yeah.
where's Carmen? He's sleeping right on the ground. But it used to be Max Bar. I bought it when it was Max Bar, and on Lincoln Avenue, and we used to do well. Like we made money every single week, and it's a late hour license. The Lincoln Avenue bars would pour into it. There's a front and a back room, and in the back room, we were having so many fights. Like police were getting called to where I got called my first time being called into the police district to meet with the commander to talk about a plan. And that's like being called into the principal's office. And they're just like, hey, we wanted to introduce ourselves. And me, I wear like, 4 suits on. Like I'm just like, everything is, and I'm trying to obviously, in order to be a good neighbor, you have to be a good community partner. I love the process. I appreciate the process. I look forward to it. So I looked forward to the opportunity to say, I understand you're getting a lot of calls for service, because that's why they're calling you in. Hey, we keep seeing your address coming up. And I said, hey, you now know me. Here's my cell phone. I endeavor to make a change. So I go back with my team and I'm like, what is going on? We need to go there every night and see why. And I'll tell you what, it was the music. It was, it's like a hardcore, not dubstep, but it was like a harsh toned style of music that they would play at like 2 a.m.
Was it electronic music or hip hop?
Hip hop, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But I mean, it was like
drill music.
I was thinking like drill or trap.
yeah, trap.
Yeah,
Thank
trap.
you.
All right.
Damn it, I aged myself again. Shout out me. So, anyways, and we would go and we made a change. I'm like, you know what? I feel the intensity of this room. Like, there's just a lot of testosterone. It's late at night. It's a late hour. We've had a bunch of drinks. We changed the music. It went away. It was like magic. The crowd. It wasn't like, screen the door or don't let people in or stop serving. Alcohol. It was just changing the music that made a material effect. I mean, there have been some other places that have closed that I think, had a style of music that, I don't want to say there's a direct correlation of encouragement, but what I would say to DJs is you got to take them on a journey. And that journey has to be high, of course, but it has to come down and settle down. Mm-hmm. And what I like to do is it's the eye test. And I'm so curious as to what you think, Strategy, because this is your art, like this is your craft, and you are hundreds of times more knowledgeable and better at it than me. And yet you have to sit down with somebody like me as I'm like, maybe you should do this. And you got to just be like, okay, thanks, dude. Is my check in the office? Peace. But the idea is like, for me, if 10 minutes go by and nobody's moving, nobody's dancing, that's on the DJ. If 10 minutes go by and nobody is singing, which I know you brought up that word earlier, it's corny. I don't want to be that cornball. Well, people are out and, people when they're drinking like to sing and dance. If you can't deliver one of those two things, it's kind of an issue. And I think a lot of the time, and especially when you get into like the trance of hip hop, that beat, some of my favorite music too, but you have to break it up. Mm-hmm. Not just because, you should, but because the crowd kind of wants you to. I don't know. What did you...
100%. I mean, I'm a big advocate for highs and lows and taking them on a journey. I mean, I get my rocks off being able to play something so ridiculously slow in the club, but have people enjoy it.
Totally.
Like Usher, nice and slow.
I would specifically remember at Bottom Line, you'd always close with some sort of Usher or...
Yeah, I mean, that's my favorite thing. And like, it's so funny. It's amazing to hear you say that. I love that you enjoy that and want that for your spots. There's some places where you like, the GM's in the back doing work, calling bottle shows, getting the girls together, doing all this thing. And then they come out and you're playing something slow and they're like, what the hell is this? Pick it up. You got to energy. And it's like, well, yeah, it's coming. It's not this for the whole time, but you just came out in the middle of this song.
Yeah, short of like techno. Like short of that genre, that would be weird. It's like Jack and Diane. Although then again, I would appreciate it. But no, I'm sorry. Yeah. I agree. What are your preferred?
So, obviously, I love house music. So anywhere I can go enjoy a good house set the whole time, I will go there. But that's particular to a certain crowd. I'm going back to if I was an open format DJ and I saw some stuff about to go down, I would throw on like "Making My Way Downtown," "Walking Fat." You know why? Because who's gonna fight to that?
How could you?
Who's
How
gonna
could
fight
that be
to
the
Taylor
soundtrack
Swift?
of your?
I always tell people, no, the music has nothing to do with it. Well, who's gonna fight to Taylor Swift? Nobody's fighting to Taylor Swift. You know what I'm saying? Like, just throw some really girly shit on, and hopefully people just realize like, what the fuck is going on,
Yeah.
and then it just stops.
It's a good tactic. It could definitely work.
Instead of I'm
gonna steal that.
I
I
hate
like that.
I steal a lot of stuff from you. I'm gonna go back to that too. Nick Lago. Anytime he put on, I don't even know the fucking name of the song. I used to pray for time. What's the name of the song?
Meek Mill, Dreams and Nightmares.
Yes. Every
Man.
Sunday at Bounce, I would be like, time to go home. And he'd play it on purpose. I'd be like, all right, see you later. And I'd go home. It'd be right
That
around
song
midnight,
gets me
12:30,
up.
And I'm out.
That song, I'm like, who are we gonna lawsuits and
I'm,
strongly worded letters? Brr.
I fucking love it. I love it. But I don't know where we're going after that. But yeah, I
You can feel it when you're DJing and you're playing music that's getting them going. And yeah, it is getting them going. Like the room is going and you're like, I got this room and they like what I'm doing. But you have to also be like, okay, now let me
bring it back.
calm
Yeah,
it down
yeah.
a little bit. We go up and down.
That song, I'm telling you, that's a hype song. Y'all thought I was with it, and you're like, yeah, I am with it. You know, like, maybe I am with it.
I'm always in the back being like, could I be with it too? I'm with him and he's with it. So if I could,
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm so much different than how I used to feel like, oh, this shit's corny. I'll never play that. I'm like the opposite now. I want to play all that. That stuff is fun. I'm looking for the fun. I miss the fun. It was all when I was doing the Send Nude stuff, I was having fun. The girls were having fun. The
you had a
people
great
watching were having fun. It was all fun. I just want fun. That's all I want. I love fun. That's it.
Make Send Nudes great again.
Make Send
2024.
Nudes great again.
that was like, I mean, it's not like what you guys did for Sunday, and it's gone. There's a whole wave of people that will have never seen what you two in particular really did for Sunday.
Riz too.
Riz for sure.
Riz had a huge part.
For sure. But it was like, I mean, there was that circuit and it went through Bottled Blonde, but it was also great for the community. I mean, like, with the exception of like, actually there is no exception. If you live in the central business district, I don't want to hear that you were walking your dog and the music was loud. It's a tough point to take. But on Sundays, think of all the businesses you helped. I mean, I think Parlor built in River North in large part because of that traffic on not just Friday and Saturday. And it really, I mean, because it was just, you always, and Sundays were a great day for that. And Thursdays were a great day for that because you wanted to eat, like you had to eat something and it was on your sort of circuit. But like Bull and Bear Sundays, I mean, and then Public House. And, like Sundays were I never missed a Sunday. It was like really what put me over I think Carmen has a problem.
Those were the best days. Sunday Fun Day was the best. And now I won't even work on a Sunday. It's the worst day.
There's not much going on.
It makes me sad every time because I'm like, all right, Sunday Fun Day.
Who's out?
Let's go. And
Which it's not West Loop because I go to West Loop on a Sunday just because I'm like, oh man, River North is kind of slowing down a little bit on Sundays. Let's see what's going on West Loop. Maybe West Loop's packed. Nope. Dead by 9 p.m.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
this Sunday Fun Day-ish, but I don't think so. I don't think anything's going on in West Loop.
No.
There's got to be some sort of shift where, like he said, we're at a lull right now.
Well, it took people to create an actual party. Like I would like there was the Strategy and Dolo show. There was the you guys always had something branded that you knew if that name is on the flyer or on the venue, it's going to be a good party. Like, Promo 7 used to have that sort of cachet. But
So many clips. I love it.
but the point is that there was such a community of not competing elements, but elements that sort of came together that nowadays there isn't. Like, I feel I was talking to Chris Spader about this recently. It's like Promo 7, the promoters now would do better if there were more promoters. Because there's like, if you have to take a whole venue and a night on by yourself, whew, I mean, it's just hard. I don't know who can do that. I mean, and so, and you talk about like even DJs. Now, maybe I'm a little out of the loop, which would, that would be hilarious. But where is like, who's the DJ? Protege brings a crowd. I give it to Protege. But like, where's like that DJ that's a brand for a party? I think it's more like circuit DJs where they're just like, I'm playing from here at this time, then I go over there, and then, I'm doing my thing. Like, it's a job, which good. It's a career. I like to hear that, but curious.
I would love to hear you answer this because I don't know. I've been tapped out for a minute.
So 2 people came to mind. I think if you throw Metro in any room that's busy, great fucking party.
Good DJ.
He could turn it on. He does
Nice
Joy
guy.
District. He does Joy District every Friday.
Nice guy.
And we'll get him at Tunnel like twice a month. But anytime he goes on when the room is busy, he does something that I have goosebumps that no other DJ does. And I don't know how, I don't know why, but the crowd just feeds off of it. Like first song. It's not like build it up, blah, blah. He's just a great DJ.
It's his presence. It's his riz in the booth is what it is. It's his charisma up there.
In the booth.
It is. I mean, I love Metro. He's one of my favorite guys, and he's an incredible DJ. And I've been going to Tahoe and watching him recently, and he is
great.
He's out here.
I'm gonna give a shout out to just because when you saw your name on a flyer, you're expecting something. Lago's been doing great. He's been doing it for, I don't know, a couple of years, but when he first started, it was like, what the fuck are you doing? Now it's like, okay, he's DJing. He's doing
I like his
thing.
energy.
Yeah,
every time I see him,
usually Riz is right next to
I'm
him.
smiling.
So it's like, what you're getting. You
Yes.
see his name on a
Great guy.
flyer.
Great guy.
Usually Promo 7 is on that flyer as well.
Yeah.
But it's usually late night. Everyone's fucked up. We're all going after, wherever the case is. But, and it doesn't even matter the place. It could be, Tao, where he plays at, or it could be Gold Coast Social, which is supposed to be a country bar. It doesn't matter. Just the energy you're going to get because he's on the flyer and,
I feel bad we've made so many references to Promo 7. Should we explain to the listeners what that is?
Yeah. They definitely, when you said all access, their ears perked up a little bit. But
Yes. Right.
God damn it.
So what do you, so what is the delta of how you DJ now and when you DJ'd at Battle Blonde? Like, what's the difference?
I think I'm a little bit slower and more precise with my song selection rather than like hook, short, keep it fun, keep it going, keep it moving, quick. And I sort of try and draw them into me a little bit more than play to their music ADD. You know what I mean? And a supplement to playing so quickly is getting on the mic. If maybe a song's playing for a hook and then a verse and then the next hook, if you're on the mic, hyping them up, getting them more involved, drawing them into you, that sort of supplements like that fast song selection a little bit.
I love your academic approach. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's very clear that that's a model. Like, remember, I think my first experience with like song one was Girl Talk. Remember Girl Talk?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It was just,
I saw him live. He's great.
yeah. Oh, and the intensity. But it's a lot of work because you're cutting so fast. But it was just like hit. And if you would ask, a layman, hey, what do you do for a living? I'm a financial analyst. If you owned a bar or a club, would you want your DJ to just be like, hit, hit, hit? A layman might agree with that. They'd be like, well, that sounds good. But it's so much more to actually affect somebody's experience. Like, it's not that easy to just, stick to the hits necessarily. Which I think is why, like, I call it, I mean, you made reference to it like a wedding DJ. But I get really excited, and maybe this is as an owner, but when the place is busy, but then everybody stops and starts singing. Like, two thoughts. One, I'm like, I've never heard this song before, so I'm clearly out of touch. And the second thought is, damn, this is really, really cool. Like, and the DJ kills, and everybody becomes the song. Like, that is like, we did it. That's a checkbox to a quality night. And and by the way, that means the servers did their job, the bartenders. You're not like drudging along or waiting for the Uber to show, whatever. So yeah, I don't know. Do you think there's more DJs now or less?
I think that I feel like there's a lot of DJs now, but like actually DJing out at venues and being career professional DJs, I feel like there's less that I know about, at least.
At one moment, everybody was a DJ, but now I feel like it toned down a little bit.
Yeah, I can't like come off the top of my head and think of a bunch of working DJs right now in the city. Just the guys that I came up with, really. But
yeah, I would have said less too.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. I think like literally everyone was a DJ.
Yeah. Riz was a DJ.
Shouts to the Trap House.
Yeah. Yeah. Which means
you were a DJ.
So going back to like cutting off music, I remember when we played, because we were producers first. I was a DJ first, and then we started as the brand Cafe Disco. We were producing music. We really didn't care about playing out, but it was really weird because we would do shows. That's not the weird part. We would do shows, but we'd have live singers, and because it's our music, so we're showcasing. We headlined at Prism a couple times. Great, we did a Tao. Usually we would get called in to open up for a big act, but occasionally we would get the headline shows where we would bring on, we'd bring like 6 to 7 singers with us. We'd pack the place. They would be excited. They would bring a guest list of 20 to 30 people because they're performing as well. And it was really fucking weird. I was looking in the crowd and people are singing like our songs. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Which is a really good feeling, because imagine, cutting off the music and someone singing, Sweet Home Alabama, but they're singing your song, which is like, what the hell is going on? Yeah. So
yeah, that's got to be an amazing feeling.
One of the best feelings ever.
Yeah. So what happened? Why'd you stop?
When was the last time you DJ'd?
Last year of June at Soundbar. My ears have just gotten really bad. My ears.
Yeah, I almost didn't recognize you without your earplugs in, honestly.
I asked Carmen, I'm like, do you think it's going to be loud in there? Should I bring my earplugs before this? No, my tinnitus, or people pronounce it tinnitus, has gotten so bad that I don't know if I could handle being in front of a monitor for 2 hours.
I have it really bad too.
Yeah.
You just
by
lay
the way,
in bed at night and you're like,
mine's on right now. Mine is loud all the time.
Mine is on all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's awful.
It's
So,
awful.
Sometimes you can get high enough to forget about it though.
when I get high, my ringing gets louder. I mean, it knocks me the fuck out, but
yeah. You settle into it. I feel like you're laying in bed and you realize that you're watching TV or something, and then you hear it, and now you're hearing it because you just heard it. Mm-hmm. And then, like, if you accept it and settle into it, it almost goes away.
Yeah,
you
for
know?
sure. Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, but that's why I don't take shows anymore.
Yeah,
I just, fuck my ears up by hanging out in the club for 4 hours instead. Which is.
I hope you do like one more set, like because I would like to be able to say I saw you do it once.
I wanted to do a return, like PDA return.
Yeah.
PDA, not Cafe Disco, not Robot, just like by
just
myself.
You, yeah.
Because that was, to me, that was the most fun. Was when I was DJing, 10 times in a 7-day fucking work week. Doing Thursdays early at Y Bar and then doing Spy Bar after that. Doing Monday nights with Saturday nights with Jabber, Monday nights at Buzz, Saturdays with Buzz with Jabber, and just like, you know, only playing house music. And everyone's like, how the fuck is this guy getting away with it? Well, I'd do remixes, you know, I'd play the hottest hip hop song, but it would be in a house format. So
let me ask you something about house music, because like I come from the hip hop world. Like, obviously I'm from Chicago, house music's from Chicago, but like that was never really my thing. I'm into it now a lot more than I've ever been because I love the stuff that's coming out right now. But like as house music, what is like, there's so much different house. There's tech house, there's this house, there's that house, there's blog house, there's blah, 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 blah. What actually makes a house song a house song? Like an EDM song has like that big build up and then that big drop and then it builds up again. It like this, you know what I mean? Like what?
I think the repetitiveness of, you know, a kick drum.
Yeah.
But EDM to me is house music. It's just a branch of it. Like the big room house was like progressive house, like progressive big room house.
Right.
You know, that was the Swedish house mafias of the world when it was really big.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, disco always comes back and forth. Like we could hear a show of what's the Purple Disco Machine. Like if he did like a show at Prism tomorrow, it would sell out. You know, with like you put it out, it would sell out. So some people still do it and they're great at it. But right now, I think it's weird. Techno's kind of big, but I think it's always going to be that tech house. I think that's like the biggest genre that will never go away.
Yeah.
For house music lovers.
What was the last house music night you went to at a house music venue? Because I can't recall the last time.
I stopped by Spy Bar a couple months ago, and that's the first time I've been there in years. I haven't been there in a while. But
was it still the same as we remember it?
Yeah. Everybody's like, "What the?
How's
fuck
that place
are you
still
doing
open?
Here?
I didn't know it was.
Just went,
I didn't know it was.
you know,
Shame on
I
me.
heard they're doing well though.
I heard they're
well.
doing a Good Friday. I heard they've got a different crowd Friday and Saturday, but it's
They've
That's what I
cleaned
heard.
it up a lot. Meaning operations, financially, is what I've heard.
Yeah.
Because
but by the way, I know that was might have sounded like a small dig, but to their credit, I mean that used to be a busy block. They used to have so many bodies. I mean, listen, grad school first orientation day, you learn the lesson is why there's a BP Amoco next to, you know, another a Speedway. Why there's a McDonald's next to a Burger King next to you want traffic to drive, you know, and then let them have options. Let people. There was 4 or 5 places over in that little pocket, and now I mean there's one, right? It's just them.
I mean, Y Bar's around the corner.
Oh, Y Bar, yeah.
Yeah. So,
But that's just hard to be an island.
oh yeah. But House Calls does a good show. I've never been.
I've heard that before
Never
and I
been.
want to go there.
Shout
Never
out
been.
House Calls.
I heard
It's on like Wells in Ontario, right? That little basement spot.
Yep.
Yeah. What is it called?
Uh,
Place.
Yeah. Yep. I call
Forgot
it
the
House
name of
Calls.
Yeah, I call it House Calls.
I like that. I like that group.
Yeah.
And I strongly recommend checking it out because it's fun. They pack them in.
Oh, isn't your boy a part of that?
I don't own it, so we're not endorsing.
Gotcha.
The promo and the endorsement can only go so far.
Yeah, but
Yeah, no,
Thursday
Drew's
nights,
a part of that.
Drew,
you know,
Drew,
Drew.
that-
Yeah,
yeah.
Thursday
They have a
nights
great
at
crew.
Parlay though.
Oh,
Thursday nights at
yeah.
Parlay.
Whoa.
How was your set? I didn't get a chance to go.
I had fun.
Now you know there are multiple parlays, so can you just please clarify which one?
Parlay River North.
Ah,
Parlay
yes, that
at
one.
Joy
Yes.
District.
Parlay at Joy District.
That's
Yeah.
good. I've heard of that place.
Yeah, it's a good Thursday party.
It was good. The mixer, the effects on the mixer they're just non-existent. But once I worked that out, you know, I had to pull the effects up in my Serato and kind of.
Shout out ownership.
Listen, that's recession, landscape.
No, but it was cool. It was a fun party. I love coming back and playing in these rooms that like I used to play in, and it's just fun. I'm like, damn, it feels good in here. Because in Houston, I was hating myself. I was getting the money, and that was it. I was just chasing money. I wasn't really enjoying myself. Now I'm here enjoying myself, and it's Feeling good.
We got to get you in the club on a Saturday night. That'll be fun.
I'm doing the 23rd,
Oh, nice.
Love
Of what month?
December.
Good. Yes, we're
Love it.
December
good.
23rd.
Yeah, that'll
and then
be fun.
Fridays
Come out.
at Liquor is actually my favorite.
Shout out Liquor Box. Yes,
That-
love that. You know, we mentioned it earlier, and despite my general attitude and arrogance, this isn't all about me. But we'd mentioned like the Club Stant. With exception around every major city, in Chicago, it's tough. And I don't think there is much of a future for it without a seismic change because, like, the rents are so large. A big space rent nowadays compared to just 10 years ago, it's like, well, if we don't do $10 million, we can't sign that lease. It's also just hard to, between Hubbard Inn and Joy District, you've got occupancy placards that can almost reach 2,000 people. Like, that's hard. Look at between Moe's and Old Crow, it's probably 2,500. That's just hard to drive. But what I like about what's fun, what I actually enjoy with Joy District and Hubbard Inn, and what we try to do, and what I really appreciate you're mentioning is like first floor, different like we try to show different faces of the space. I think it'd be so like Prism. They have that back room, but like that's a large room, and that's what you're getting, And as much of like that's great when you're hitting on all cylinders, but it's hard. And I think what impacted the industry for a while there, it's like, well, who's playing? Tao came into town and just started all these big DJs, and then everybody started doing big DJs and filling these big rooms, and it was like, well, who's playing? That's not a business model. I mean, doling out $50,000 to $100,000 every week, like we went down that rabbit hole just to like the knee jerk, and then my banker knee jerked. He was like, "What are you doing?" And so, but yeah, like it's like we try to present something different on the floors, including the roof. Hubbard's been around. I think about Hubbard Inn, and obviously it's just got a special place in my heart. But like, that's been open for a long time, 2010, 11. And I just think about the next 10 years. Like, I really want to see it hit its 20-year anniversary, but it's hard. I mean, it's hard. I mean, the things that we have to do and present the space and that, like it's, I think we see so many more, like, I wonder what the ratio is in the city from restaurant to bar / nightclub. I bet you it's like 20 to 1, maybe even more. Like 30 to 1 restaurants open before you hear about a bar club. Mm-hmm. And I'm being generous by putting bar in the category of club, because if it was just club, it'd be like 100 to 1 restaurant to club, which is, we were talking about house music, like Chicago's the birthplace. And then we were talking about third largest city and centrally located. Like it would really impact tourism on a whole. Like if you lost entertainment, it is insane. You have these little fiefdoms controlled by aldermen, and there's 50 of them. And every new business, and you have these, well-to-do, wealthier neighborhoods, they just want, Michelin stars and flower shops. If you're not bringing that to the community meeting, don't even think about it, as a lot of aldermen will say. And that is like, I'll be fine, but I'm not saying like our tourism and future depend on it, but it's that whole makeup of an ecosystem that needs the diversity, and it needs, while I can sit here and razz Pauly, if it wasn't for Nightlife, he's got a whole budgeting portfolio now. And there is a large number of people who live in Chicago, who pay their bills dependent on him, waking up every morning and being able to hear. And so like that is it's not all, it's not all the West Loop and tech industry, and it's not all Michelin stars and flower shops. And I'm surprised that this comes off as some cavalier notion, or more likely too long of a rant. But it's, thank you for having us here, and like this opportunity for the 7 people listening. Now like you have a responsibility. Shout out from 07. And quite frankly, this, I hope that you didn't have a negative experience in nightlife, and that you do another, like you get it.
Yeah.
Like there's not, we need that old school where we can all close our eyes and see what we think would work, and it would work. It just takes a lot of time, and you don't have that crew, you don't have those crews out there hitting the street like they used to. So, end rant.
Yeah, and I think that's probably a good spot to wrap it up, right? You guys got meetings to go to? I'll keep going. I mean, if you want to miss your meetings, I'll keep going.
Let's wrap it up. But I want to do this again for sure.
I would love to. You guys have been great.
This is my first. I felt comfortable. It's easy because he talks a lot.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I do.
But he's well spoken.
Well spoken. I mean, it felt good for me too. You kind of took over a little bit off of my shoulders.
Shit.
Yeah, but no, thank you guys for coming out. It was great. I really think that anybody watching who is looking to learn something from successful people will definitely be able to get that from this. And that's really what I want to do. And we had fun. It was great.
Congratulations.
Love that.
23 in.
Thank you.
123.
Yeah.
It's a big difference.
So there's like 75 listeners.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
What's the most amount of listeners you've had?
I have an episode with Cam Patterson that I think has the most. It's like 3,000 or something. But the clips on Instagram go crazy.
That's what it's for.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
The reels go crazy.
Have you seen Bader's Instagram? Dude, he has clips that have like millions of fucking views. And this morning I was watching him. This is pretty funny.
He will really appreciate that.
Yes, he will.
Yeah, shout out to Bader.
Shout out Chris Bader for being funny.
Yeah. Should we have him on?
He would love it.
I want to come back when Chris is on.
He would love it.
He's funny. He's goofy.
All right. Let's do it. Yeah. I'd love to have you guys back on. Make sure you like, subscribe. If you're on the YouTube channel, drop a little comment on the video. Algorithm activating activity. That's what we like over here. And if you guys have anything to plug, now's the time. Just your ear holes. All right.
I feel like I've almost hit everything.
Make sure to come out for the 20th anniversary for Promo 7. We'll let you know the details soon.
Doing a dispensary in Bolingbrook.
Yeah, what I want actually written down here, I had, I've had a lot of people on this podcast that have sold weed. You've actually sold an entire dispensary. That was going to be part of my intro too.
I think we need to do a follow up. What you call it?
Yeah, we'll do one. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Until next time.
Thanks.
Peace.
Thanks for having us.